Now at 11, our next snow is on the way. We have an update on impacts and how much to expect.
Healthcare facilities shut down by the state of Indiana are now taking steps to reopen. We're digging into why they're allowed to do that and what state officials are now saying.
You have nothing to say about this at all.
I have nothing to say to you.
Tonight, 13 investigates what happened inside. Plus, Notre Dame in a showdown right now with Penn State for a spot in the national title game.
The Orange Bowl is being played out in South Florida, but there's plenty of excitement right here at home. We're here with fans on the east side who are hoping the Irish beat the Lions.
Live from Indy, you're watching 13 News. And we begin tonight at 11 with a weather impact alert. Another round of snow is arriving here tomorrow, and it could add several more inches to the snow that we already have out on the ground right now. And the cold temperatures that we have are not going to help. I'm in for Scott. Sean's in for Angela. And Sean, you know, the timing of this one is what really is a little bit more problematic.
Yeah, and the key here I want people to take away, this will not impact your morning commute. A completely different ball game, however, for the afternoon and evening. That's when it's going to be snowy and slick here. So let's start with the bus stop forecast. And again, we don't anticipate a lot of issues tomorrow. It may look like those thickening clouds want to snow like crazy. That just won't be the case. That will change from west to east from the time you wake up until the time we get into noontime. Watch on Future Track 13. Once we head toward noon, should be over Indy. And then look at this during the afternoon, during the evening, we are going to have a radar full of snow. It will be steady, may not be terribly heavy, but we're going to have several hours of snow. We'll talk about how much to expect and those impacts all coming up in the forecast.
Drug overdoses, assaults, rapes, suicide attempts, even deaths. Patients say these are all the things that they saw while they were getting treatment at a recovery center right here in Indiana. This week, 13 Investigates has been taking a closer look at what happened inside that facility and 2 others all shut down by the state. Our senior investigative reporter Bob Siegel joins me now here in studio. And Bob, I understand that there are some new concerns now that some of these centers may in fact reopen.
Yes, and it's not just former patients we're hearing from. We're also hearing concerns from some former workers. They told me they're angry about what patients went through and that the state didn't take action sooner. There's a reason the front doors are now locked at 3 addiction recovery centers around Indiana. State regulators shut them down after investigators found some serious safety problems. The facilities in Bluffton, Carmel, and near South Bend are all owned by Landmark Recovery. 13 Investigates spoke with some former patients.
It was just a nightmare.
I experienced nothing but neglect.
It was scary as hell.
What upsets them the most is not the violence they witnessed inside the South Bend Rehab Center every day, not the lack of food and counseling, not even the constant smell of sewage leaking from pipes. What haunts them is seeing people die inside this treatment center who had come here to get better. 3 patients died at the South Bend facility in a single week while Brandon Truax was there in 2023.
I believe all 3 of those deaths could have been prevented. I sincerely do if they were checking the rooms like they should have.
Despite the deaths and the problems, the shutdown centers could soon reopen. Landmark Recovery in the state of Indiana reached a settlement agreement. Landmark agreed not to appeal the state's decision to shut down 3 of its centers. And in exchange, FSSA agreed Landmark can apply to recertify and reopen those centers with additional monitoring and stipulations. Landmark can apply to reopen the center up in South Bend as early as April. And it can apply to reopen the centers in Carmel and Bluffton right away. 13 Investigates has learned steps have already been taken quietly for that to happen. FSSA told 13 News Landmark Recovery has not submitted any new applications to reopen its shutdown rehab centers. But an agency spokeswoman confirmed an application has been submitted to reopen the Carmel Recovery Center by a group called 13594 North Meridian Street Ops, LLC. Another application has been submitted to reopen the Bluffton Recovery Center by 1529 West Lancaster Street Ops, LLC. 13 Investigates tracked down both of those companies. According to the Indiana Secretary of State's office, their mailing address comes back to this office building in Franklin, Tennessee, and the same vacant office suite inside that Landmark Recovery lists online as its corporate headquarters. And the person who signed the certificate of organization for the new companies, that's Matthew Boyle, who happens to be Landmark's CEO. While the company no longer operates here, 13 Investigates did find Landmark's new headquarters, with a different name on the door, just a few miles away, inside this much smaller office. I'm looking for Matt Boyle.
He is not here.
The office manager told me the CEO was not in on the day I visited, but said she'd pass along my request. We're still waiting for a response. In fact, for 4 months, Landmark has ignored all our questions and interview requests. While the company can apply to reopen its shutdown treatment centers, there are plenty of folks who say that should not happen. James and Donna Harris are still mourning their son William, who died by suicide at the Landmark facility near South Bend. State investigators determined William did not get proper supervision, even after telling staff he was suicidal. So it's hard for the Harrises to even think about the state granting Landmark permission to reopen.
Do you think that's a good idea?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I went in with one problem and came out with several.
I definitely felt traumatized.
It traumatized the rest of my life.
And it's not just these former patients and some families who worry about Landmark reopening the doors of its shutdown treatment centers.
Medical staff saw those things happening too.
Every day.
Some of the company's current and former employees also have concerns, like Sybil.
Why are you sitting down to talk with me right now?
Because I feel like just the general public are in harm's way.
Sybil is not her real name, but she is a real medical professional who saw up close how Landmark operated its rehab centers in Indiana. The former staff member, who spoke with 13 Investigates on the condition of anonymity, was appalled at the things reported both by patients and coworkers and the things she saw firsthand.
There were a significant volume of overdoses. There were sexual assaults reported. There were physical assaults reported. On a daily basis, it was reported that it was not a safe facility.
Not safe, according to Sybil, because some of Landmark's facilities were so understaffed, vulnerable patients were not getting needed medications and supervision.
Patients were left unattended every day, multiple times a day, every night, multiple times a night.
Patients who were supposed to be watched closely?
Intensively.
Did you raise your concerns to the leadership?
Repeatedly.
What response did you get?
None. It just got worse.
Why did you leave?
Because people were dying, and I couldn't be a part of that. These people suffered mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually. Their families suffered. We failed them. We failed all of them in some way.
And this medical worker says it was not only Landmark that failed the patients. Sybil told 13 Investigates local and state authorities and regulators received multiple serious complaints about the South Bend and Bluffton treatment centers in late 2022 and early 2023. These are police and EMS runs to Landmark's Praxis recovery centers near South Bend and Bluffton in the 12 months before the rehab centers were shut down. 911 calls for assaults, rapes, drug overdoses, and suicide attempts, prompting an attorney at the St. Joseph County Police Department to write FSSA, warning that Praxis of South Bend was dangerous and harmful to its patients and our community. Sybil said some of the complaints did trigger investigations and even holds placed on new admissions. But she said the holds were soon lifted and the problems continued.
So nothing changed. And, imminently, people died. Had they intervened in the fall of 22, in July of 2023, 3 people would not be dead.
13 News asked FSSA for an interview to explain how it monitors addiction treatment centers and what FSSA is doing to help prevent more problems like the ones reported at Landmark. I also emailed the agency a list of questions. When I got no answers, I went to the Indiana State House to talk with the man in charge of FSSA.
Do you believe Landmark Recovery should get their license back?
But he did not want to talk with me.
Doctor, why are you just running away from these questions?
FSSA Commissioner Dan Rosiniak did not provide any information, even as I followed him to try to get some answers.
You have nothing to say about this at all.
I have nothing to say to you.
FSSA is not talking. Neither is Landmark. A Landmark attorney did tell the state shutting down addiction treatment centers has dire consequences, writing Hoosiers in need of substance abuse and mental health counseling will go untreated, and adding the shutdown order does not protect Hoosiers, it harms them. Sybil disagrees after seeing what many patients like these, experienced inside the facilities.
They didn't get better when they came to Landmark. In this situation, I would equate it to Russian roulette. And I would take my chances out in the world.
Did you end up better off or worse off when you came out?
Worse off.
He went for help and got no help. Totally opposite of what he was looking for. How could you? How could you do that to people that need help?
Some of the patients who had a bad experience at Landmark Rehab Centers in Indiana have been fighting back. More than 120 patients have now filed lawsuits against the company. Those are in state and federal court. And Landmark is facing dozens of other lawsuits related to its financial problems. And we're going to continue pushing for answers with both Landmark and with the state.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. And in the meantime, you can tune in and watch the full 13 Investigates What Happened Inside special report. It's streaming right now on demand at WTHR+.
And we're tracking snow. I've got the latest snowfall forecast on the way.
And that's adding more snow to already snow-covered roads. We show you the push to prepare for the next round and keep our streets safe. A nail-biter in South Florida. Notre Dame versus Penn State in the Orange Bowl. We're with Indy fans here in Indy, and there's been a big development. We have it next.